When people find out that I'm a pastor, they almost always have questions. Questions about life, questions about relationships, questions about the Bible, questions about decisions that they need to make, questions about God, questions about responding to something that someone has said or done, maybe at work, maybe in the home, maybe online. There's always questions. I don't know if pastors are just trustworthy people, or people think that pastors know a lot, or think they just know a lot about the Bible, and so they want to know a good solid answer. I don't know. I'll take all of them. Any questions that I can help people with, man, if they would think that I was a trustworthy person to ask, then I want to help them. I want to help them take their next step in their relationship with Jesus. Now, my response to a lot of their questions is simple, especially if I'm talking to a follower of Jesus. I'll ask them, what does the Bible say? What does the Bible say about your decision, or about your relationship, or what you ask about God, or what you should believe, or how you should respond? See, as followers of Jesus, the Bible is our roadmap. It is our foundation. It's our go-to. If you want to know what's right and wrong, if you want to know what the next step is and how to take it, if you want to know how you should respond, if you want to know what a good relationship is, if you want to know how to do your finances, if you want to talk about worship or love or any of that stuff, it's all in the Bible. And so I'll just ask people, what does the Bible say? But there are certain questions that it feels weird if I have that response to. One of the questions revolves around technology. When parents come up to me and say, what do I need to do about technology? How do you honor God with technology? Hey, Nathan, when is a good age to buy your kid their first phone? Do they need a phone? Is it a smartphone? Do I need to monitor everything that they're doing online? Is that kind of like eavesdropping? Isn't that none of my business? Like, just let them have an iPad or a laptop and trust them with it. And I know they're going to make some mistakes, but they're going to have to learn along the way. And should I be protecting them? Oh, I don't know. What's the deal with technology? It's one of the most frequently asked questions that I get today from parents of kids, and especially students, middle school and high school. So I want to talk about it. But when I'm asking that question and when I'm answering it, can I say, look at the Bible? I mean, come on, I've read the Bible from front to back, and I don't see any mention of an iPad in there. I don't see any mention of the internet, or what is the youngest age that you can get a kid. And should you allow your kid on Instagram? I mean, like, what's the age limit in which they can join and be a part of it? Like, man, so many questions. And at first glance, you may think, well, the Bible doesn't speak to that, so we're going to have to figure something else out. I would actually disagree. I think the Bible speaks a lot towards technology. It's maybe just not the technology that you are thinking of. See, technology for us, we automatically associate it with phones or computers or iPads or glasses that have built-in screens in them, or a lot of different things that you can think about. It mostly revolves around media. But something being technologically advanced doesn't have to be connected to a motherboard. It doesn't have to have a lot of circuits and screens and plug into your wall. In fact, there was a time in the world where cutting-edge technology was man learning how to use a fulcrum, learning how to use a pulley system. All that kind of stuff is technology. It was very cutting edge. Did you know that at one point in the history of humanity, a shovel was very cutting edge? It was the latest technology to ever be seen by people that were doing work with their hands. It's true, that was the previous definition of cutting-edge technology. Tools and knives and rudimentary things that we think of today were actually one day really, I mean, there would have been the Apple iPhone of the day when someone discovered these simple things. We actually see some of those things in the Old Testament and how people used modern day technology in their modern day, to honor God. Think about the story in Exodus chapter 31. God commanded his people to build a temple where his presence would dwell, and a symbol of God and his power and the relationship that he had with his people. And in Exodus chapter 31, we see specifically that God gave the people knowledge, gave the people discernment and an understanding, and provided that to skilled Israelite workers, and even provided tools in order to accomplish this construction of the temple. Now, these tools would have been the technology of the day. This knowledge that people had, and the godly discernment that it was needed in order to build this temple, was really groundbreaking for them. I mean, no one had ever seen or heard of any of this stuff, and God was giving it to his people in a way to build the temple so that they could honor and worship God. And that's exactly what they did. They used the technology and the tools that they had to assemble this temple out of obedience to God and also bring him glory. Here's the downside, though. Just a few chapters later, those same skilled workers used that same wisdom and that same knowledge and that same technology, those same tools, to unfortunately make a golden calf so that they could worship the golden calf instead of worshiping God. It's a great example, though, of the dangers and the benefits of technology. See, these people used the tools and the knowledge and the technology in one chapter to glorify and honor God. 2 chapters, 3 chapters later, they used that same tools, the same technology, the same mind and wisdom and discernment to steal glory from God by worshiping idols. I think that's one of the things that parents have to realize about technology. I wish that we could just make a broad sweep, that it was just black or white, that there was no in between, that either technology is good or technology is bad. But I don't think we can do that. I think technology is just a tool. It's a tool that can help us take our next step in our relationship with Jesus, or it can distract us and our kids from pursuing a real relationship with Jesus. That's the first thing I think we got to understand about tech. It is just a tool. Don't be afraid of it. Don't shun it. Don't talk bad about it. Technology is just a tool that we can use, I would argue, as parents, to help our kids follow Jesus, to show Jesus to them, to reach them and to reach their generation in ways that we could have never imagined. So I want to give you just a few pointers, just a conversation starter about technology and how we can use it in parenting. And maybe these things will help you as you connect the dots with how to honor God and help your kids know and follow Jesus through the use of technology. Here's the first thing that I would highly suggest. As a parent, when it comes to technology, you need a plan for technology in your family. You need a plan. You need details of that plan. You need to know what that looks like. You need to know how it looks to utilize technology. You need to have some boundaries and guardrails. See, I think when technology is used thoughtfully and in an appropriate way, technology can actually enhance our daily lives. It can enhance the lives of your kids. It can enhance the lives of your family. It can enhance your relationship with Jesus. I have all kinds of apps and devotional guides and Bible studies on my phone. My phone helps make it easier for me to read my Bible, to have my Bible with me anywhere I go, to be able to access questions and look things up. It's all kind of stuff. It's a tool, and technology can be a tool. So have a game plan for technology in your family. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to use. This is when we're going to use it. This is how we're going to use it. Get a game plan together. I think that'll be really helpful. The second thing is this. I think you have to treat media like every other environment that your kids use. Do you know where your kids are going during the day? Do you know if your kids went over to someone's house, do you know who else is going to be there? Do you know anything about the people that are going to be there, the family that they're going to be hanging out with? Those are questions that I remember my parents used to ask me. If I was going over to someone's house, they'd say, well, where is it? Who's going to be there? What are you going to be doing? How long are you going to be there? When can I expect you to return? All of those things happened in every single environment that I found myself in as a kid. My parents did that for me. And I think social media and technology is the exact same thing. I think parents need to be sure they know where their kids are going online, what they're looking at, who they're hanging out with, who they're instant messaging or direct messaging or connecting with on Facebook, who they're texting on their phones, what they're texting. Like, we need to be aware of the environments that our kids are in. We need to know they're healthy environments. We need to protect them from bad environments. So treat media just like you would any other environment. There's no way that you would put your kid in a car and drive them to some random place and just let them off out of the car and drive off without asking them some key questions. Treat media the same way. The third thing is this: be sure to set limits when it comes to technology. Kids won't set limits. They need parents to set limits for them. And I'll just be honest with you, they're probably not going to like the limits that you set. Whether it's a limit on how much time they get to spend on it, or the sites that they get to go to, or how involved and engaged they can be online on a daily basis. That's fine. That's a part of leadership. One of my definitions of leadership is leadership involves taking people to a place that they don't think they want to go, right? If you are leading people to a place that they want to go, you're not a leader, you're an Uber driver, okay? So just, parents are not Uber drivers. I know you feel like an Uber driver sometimes by taking your kids everywhere. But don't let that be the case with technology. Set limits with them. Think about what limits that you can set with them. Here's an idea, number 4, jot this down. You, as a parent, and your kids could do screen time together. Instead of being on separate screens in separate rooms, or even being in the same room, but you being on your screen and your kids being on their screen, do screen time together. If they're watching a movie, watch it with them. If they're playing a game, you sign up for the app and play the game with them. If they're reading online, then read with them. Interact with them online. Whatever platforms they're on, figure out a way that you can interact with them and be online together. That's one way to build a connection with your student. Don't just leave them for their online space and you take your online space. Inhabit that space together. Build a relationship. Establish trust. Now, don't be that crazy parent that every time they post a picture, like you're posting the kissy lips and, oh, you look so cute, and, oh, I can remember when you were a little baby and you used to run around with your shirt off and nothing but a diaper on. All right, so that's going to embarrass them, and that's probably not a good step in the right direction. But figure out ways that you can actually do screen time together. Now, let me get real personal for number 5. I know some of you may not like this, but we got to do it, okay? When it comes to technology, you as the parent have to set a good example. If you are constantly on your phone, then don't be surprised if your kid wants to spend all of the time they have on their phone. If you use a phone as an escape or as a stress reliever or just a way to back away from the world and clear your mind, then don't be surprised if your kid runs towards technology as a way to escape from the world. If you use your phone at the table, don't be surprised if your kid just wants to scroll with their thumbs at the dinner table instead of being with the family. So, even before your kids have their own phone, they are learning from you. They are watching you. They are developing habits for how they are going to approach technology and how they'll use technology based on how you are currently using it. Be careful. Little eyes are watching what you do, and you're setting the tone with technology early on. 6th thing you could try to do is this. In your house and in your life, create some tech-free zones, right? There are certain rooms, certain areas, certain times of day that you could label as text-free. What if the tech did not exist at the kitchen table? What if tech did not exist in the bedroom at night? It's one of the ways that you might be able to ensure that your kids aren't scrolling on social media all night long when you're in the other bedroom asleep. Just set a boundary. Your bedroom after 8 p.m. at night is going to be a tech-free zone. Anytime our family is together around the kitchen table, that is a tech-free zone. So begin to establish some boundaries, establish some guardrails for them. Maybe you do with what my parents did. They say, hey, if you're going to be on the computer, it's going to be in the family room. No one's going to be upstairs unless they're doing homework. Nobody's going to be surfing the internet upstairs with the door closed by themselves. That was a way that they said, hey, we want to have some accountability. We want to make sure you're not on it all day long, and we want to make sure that you're not doing or going places online that you shouldn't be. So it's going to be in an open area. You want to play on your phone? Then do it in the family room, in the den with everyone else in the room. So set up some tech-free zones in your house and see if that doesn't help you set some boundaries. Number 7 is this. You got to make sure to do your homework as a parent. Technology is changing so fast, and kids are getting involved in things. They're going to websites. They're downloading apps. They're joining social media platforms. Some of them great, some of them not so great. So as a parent, you have to stay on top of it. I'm actually going to include some links in the bottom of this blog, in the video post, that will share with you some resources that I think parents should really pay attention to. Some are some books to read. Some are some weekly emails that get sent out from some organizations that really have their finger on the pulse of culture and technology as it pertains to students and specifically young adults. So do your homework. Don't just assume that everything is good, that everything is clean, that everything is something that your kids should be spending time on just because their friends are doing it or just because they have it on their phone. Last one is this. Some of you are going to disagree with me on this one, but just hear me out. It's okay to be online. It's okay to have a phone. It's okay for your kid to be on a screen. Technology is a part of their world. You're never going to get away from that. Technology will continue to be a part of the world that we find ourselves in. Sometimes I'll hear parents say, well, I'm just not going to get my kid a phone. That's the easiest way to monitor it. That's the easiest way to make sure they don't abuse it. I get that, but I want to push back on it a little bit. I think that might be kind of a lazy way to approach technology. Why don't you do this? Whenever you feel like it's the right time to get them a phone, make sure that you've done your homework. Make sure that you set the boundaries. Make sure that you are monitoring what they're doing. Make sure that you have established tech-free zones. There's a way that people, your kids, and us as adults can use technology in a good way, in a helpful way, in a way that doesn't totally disconnect us from the rest of the world. But that's going to take some work. So don't be lazy just by saying, all right, the easiest thing is just to say no phones. Wrestle with it as a parent. Do the work. Put the plan together and set your kids up for success in technology. Sometimes you have to ask yourself as parents and as followers of Jesus, when I'm concerned with something going on in the world, when I am presented a question or an opportunity, you can do one of two things. You can redeem it or you can reject it. And some people just want to totally reject technology. No, it's not going to be in my house, not going to do it, we're not going to have it. I would argue that technology is something that followers of Jesus should redeem. We should take it and tweak it and turn it and grow in it and figure out how we can leverage it for the sake of the gospel and for the sake of our kids growing in their relationship with Jesus, for the sake of the family and connection that we have for it. Media and digital devices are integrated into our lives, into our culture, and into our world. The benefits of these devices, the benefits of technology, if used in moderation and appropriate, can be great. So, as a parent, it's up to you. It's your choice. I know it's a tough one, and everyone is going to make different decisions, but hopefully this gives you a little insight and maybe put some steps that you can take forward in how to help your kids navigate the world of smartphones and technology.